Welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name's Angela, and as always you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Rainbow Ange, and you can also find an Instagram account and a Facebook page for my little bricks and mortar yarn shop. We're called Yarn and Yarns and we're based here in South Wales in the UK, just outside of Cardiff in a small town called Penarth. Thank you for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, a very big welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video. And of course, as always, if you're coming back to join me, I really appreciate the time that we spend together. Thanks for tuning in once again. And this video is going to be a little bit different to my normal format. I'm really struggling to carve out a chunk of time where I can just sit and chat to you. So I thought I would do a kind of snippets style video. I've done a few of those in the past, and basically the idea is I chat to you for a couple of minutes each day and just give you a little insight into what's happening with my days and what I'm up to. So it's Tuesday today and it's 5 o'clock, 5:30, something like that. It doesn't really matter, does it? You could be watching this at any time. You're certainly not watching me live. All that to say, I have just arrived home from work, and yeah, so I thought I'd start off the video. So it's been a quiet-ish day in the shop today. One of the reasons that I'm struggling to find a chunk of time is I feel like really busy at the moment. I've got a bunch of commissions that I need to get through. I'm desperate to change the window. We've had some gorgeous days of sunny weather here in South Wales, so I'm trying to get some bits and pieces done at home as well. So yeah, it's just been crazy, mad few days really. So yeah, instead of putting too much pressure on myself to record a video, I thought I'd just pop by, say hello, and for today I'm just going to chat to you about what I have been working on. So yesterday I went to the cinema and I caught a film. What did I see? Oh, I went to see Rampage, which is as silly as it sounds. It's The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, battling against giant genetically modified creatures. One of those movies that's kind of bad but also pretty awesome. But anyway, I had to have a knitting project to take with me, so I cast on a pair of vanilla socks. I have got about 5 or 6 pairs at the moment that I'm knitting as a commission, so I basically just have to work my way through. I've got no deadline for these projects, so that's really good. I just get to pick up and knit when I have time, but I've decided to cast on a pair in this lovely yarn from local indie dyer, and the label is by Miranda May, and this particular colour is her Storm's End colourway. Now I have knit with this colourway before, funnily enough, the first iteration. This is a new iteration of the colours, and they're slightly more muted than the first, and I really love how this is knitting up. So I cast on and knit the cuff before I went to the movie, and then basically I have knit the leg while I was watching that movie yesterday. So this yarn has a really lovely kind of spiralling effect, so not quite stripes, but they do kind of like carry on around the sock, which is really fun. This yarn is so lovely and soft as well. That will probably go on hold now. That will probably be my cinema knitting project. I try and go to the movies once a week at least, so I think that will just get picked up and put down whenever I'm at the movies. As I say, no deadline for that, which is great. And I have one more project to show you before I sign off today, and this is my Speckle Pop shawl, which is a pattern by Stephen West. Mystery knit along last year, and I finally finished mine. Yay! It's not finished because I have ends to weave in, but it is blocked, and this thing grew in the blocking. I was a bit worried when I cast this off that it didn't really seem that big, but it's massive now. So I'm just going to show you as best I can the finished shawl. There's lots of ends hanging out at the bottom, so ignore those. So the shawl is knit from 3 colours, and I don't have the details with me now, but so the darkest colour is just, obviously ignore the stripes, but the darkest colour here is from Little French Meadow, and it's their, I think it's called Paris Skies colourway. And then in the middle there is a slightly less, it's variegated but slightly less saturated, and that's from Life in the Long Grass, and I think that might be the Hydrangea colourway. And then finally over here, the lightest of the 3 colours is another Little French Meadow, and that's Ants Spoil the Picnic. And then I've got mini skeins going across for the contrasts from various companies. I had a love-hate relationship with this project as I was knitting it. Down here in the brioche section, I've probably blocked this out a little bit too much, and I think I've spoken about this on previous videos. You can't see the brioche, the 2-colour brioche super well on the front. I think it's a bit more obvious on the back. You can definitely see that more on the back. But my yarns weren't super high contrast. But once you get down to that bit, there's like 800 odd stitches on the shawl. So each row was taking forever. And then you finish off with this lovely I-cord bind off. But I-cord binding off 800 and something odd stitches, well, it took me a couple of evenings. And I have lots of ends to weave in. Now I could have worked these in as I was going along. I could have covered them up in the I-cord process, but I'm not really a fan of that. I've tried it in the past. I find that the ends poke out quite a bit when you're wearing it, so I'm going to go back and sew these in. So that is the last job to do. But yeah, I love the finished object. It's so much fun. I have no idea when, if, how I'm going to wear this. I mean, I traditionally wear my shawls wrapped around, so it does kind of work, but there's quite a lot of fabric there and you can't really see a lot of the detail. I don't know, I'm sure I'll figure it out. It's definitely big enough to wear like as a traditional over the shoulder kind of style shawl. So maybe, I don't often wear my shawls like this, but maybe this will be how this one is worn, which yeah, super fun project. As I say, I love it now it's finished. Hated it at points during the knitting. Have no idea if, when, how I'm going to wear it, but Stephen West patterns, they're just really fun, aren't they? And it was definitely a project that I knitted because I wanted to have fun with all of the different techniques, and it's really got me back into brioche. I've only ever knit and finished one brioche project before, but I've cast on a new brioche shawl and I am completely obsessed with that, so I'm sure that will pop up later on in this video. But yeah, I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to go and weave in all these ends. That's my evening plans. What are you up to? Maybe something a bit more fun than this, but these jobs have to be done, don't they? So yeah, that's it for my Tuesday, and I shall catch you again tomorrow. Bye for now. Welcome to my Wednesday. It's about 8:30 in the morning. I've just stepped out of the shower, so sorry about crazy hair, but I thought I'd pop by and say a quick hello to you before I dash off out of the house. Wednesday is one of my busy days. We have 2 groups in the shop. I've got my lovely crocheters this morning, and then I have another lovely group this afternoon. It's a mix of knitters and crocheters. So I'm usually busy making cups of tea, and I never know whether I'll be helping other people solve their project problems or whether I'll be sitting and just joining in the chatter and getting on with my own projects. So yeah, always a fun day, Wednesday. But I do have to dash out and do the cake run this morning. My groups would probably riot if there was no cake in the shop, so I must get out and do that before I go along and open up. But before I do, I thought I'd show you quickly what I worked on last night, and then if I've got time, I've got a couple of finished objects at the shop which I will try and show you this morning before the groups arrive. So I just wanted to let you know that I finished weaving in the ends, yay! So my speckle pop shawl is now finished, and I absolutely adore it. I really love the I-cord bind off, absolutely pretty. I'm so glad that I took the time to go along and do each wedge in a different colour. It was a bit of a pain at the time, but yeah, well worth it, and obviously lots of ends to weave in, but I'm so glad that I went with a multicolour edge. There is also an option in the pattern to go around these big eyelet holes and pick up some of the colours and do a double crochet edging. I think that's single crochet in American terms, but I'm pretty happy with how it is. I think it's colourful enough. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future. I've still got some of the minis left, but I'm really low, particularly on the blue mini, so I don't think I'd want to get halfway along that bottom edge and sort of run out of some of the colours. So yeah, I am calling that finished, and I actually wore it over my shoulders last night as it got a little bit chillier here this evening, and it was lovely. After I'd woven in all of those ends on the speckle pop, it didn't actually take me as long as I thought. I think in my head I was thinking, oh, you know, I was remembering that bind off of 820 something stitches and thinking how long that took, but of course weaving in a few ends didn't take long at all. So I did get to some knitting last night, and I picked up one of my older works in progress. And if you have followed me for a while, either here on YouTube or on Instagram, you might remember that while I had some time off over Christmas, I did a crazy little exercise where I cast on 12 projects. So I basically cast on a project every day during the time that I was off over Christmas, and just knit on that one project for the day and just to see how far I got. And it wasn't really an exercise in getting all of these projects on and finished. It was more about getting them on the needles. So it was things that had been in my queue for a long time, or yarns that I wanted to work with, or just patterns that, you know, maybe had only just come on my radar and I'd just fallen in love with and really wanted to get them on the needles, because, you know, once they're on the needles, they'll get finished at some point. So I have actually finished 6 of those 12 projects, which I'm pretty happy with. We're at the end of May, so I'm halfway through, which is great. I kind of expected that some of them would probably languish for ages, and I've got a couple of jumper projects, so they probably will be ongoing for a while. I picked up one of the smaller projects that's left, and that was a lovely pair of socks, and I have just about finished the first sock. So the yarn for this is another yarn from by Miranda May, coincidentally, and this is her pumpkin pie colourway, and I purchased this from her Etsy shop before we started stocking her yarn in the shop. I love oranges, yellows, autumnal colours, so I just had to have this one when I saw it pop up in her shop. And the pattern is by my lovely friend Lisa, who is Use Your Yarn on Instagram, and I believe Ravelry too. Yeah, I think so. If she's not, I'll pop it down here. Yeah, it's really pretty arrow pattern, and she released the pattern in order to raise some money for a cancer awareness charity over in the US. I have to admit, I don't know if the proceeds are still going to that charity, but the pattern is for sale on Ravelry, so hop on over and have a look. And of course I've got a project page which will take you straight to the link for the sock project, and if I remember I'll link it down below as well. It's a really fun pattern, and you actually knit inside out for a lot of the time, which helps. So you can see this part is obviously reverse stockinette stitch, but for anyone who is not a fan of purling, you actually do not do as much purl as you would think. So yeah, it's really fun pattern. Light is, yeah, I think it's showing up the lovely pattern, and the arrow sort of shafts go all the way down the foot. So all I've got left to do is kitchen of the toe. And you might be thinking to yourself, Angela, that would have taken you 5 seconds. Why didn't you do that last night? And you would be right. But I have this thing, you might hear some people talk about second sock syndrome, and that's basically where, you know, people cast off the first sock and then they kind of lose interest in the project a bit because you're basically knitting the same thing again. I don't suffer from that, but I do try and make sure that once I finish the first sock, I also have time to cast on for the second sock. I just find that, you know, once a project's on the needles, then, you know, as I say, it will get done. And oftentimes socks knit themselves, don't they? So yeah, I like to make sure that when I'm about to finish a sock, I can also have the time to cast on the second. Now, the cast on method for this sock was slightly different. It's new to me, and for the life of me, I cannot remember what the cast on was called. I want to say Chinese something cast on. But I would need to look that up. So it was about 11:30 last night, and I just thought, put this down and come back to it this evening. So that is the plan. I think that's everything that I wanted to say about that project. So I made it to the shop, and cakes are purchased, so that will keep the groups happy today. And as promised, I have got a few minutes before the shop opens, so I'm going to show you a couple of finished objects. So these both were commission projects by the same lady who came in and asked me if I would knit a couple of little tank tops for her nephew who is 1 year old. She said I could choose whatever patterns and yarn that I fancied working with, which is always fantastic, and yeah, just let her know when they were finished. So I have let her know, and she'll be coming in to collect them at some point, either today or tomorrow, which gives me a chance to quickly show them to you before they disappear to their new home. So this was the first top that I knit. If I just hold that back a little bit. So this is a really cute pattern from Sublime. I think it's in one of their Sublime little knit books. I think you may also be able to get hold of it as a single pattern. I think it's pattern 6005 off the top of my head. I didn't use a Sublime yarn though. I used Debbie Bliss Rialto Prints yarn, which is a nice multicoloured yarn, and obviously in this row count you get a nice striping effect. So the fun thing that I loved about this top is the reverse stocking stitch side is actually the right side, so you can see peeking through the back there what the traditional right side would look like. So you get these nice stripes of greens and blues, but I absolutely love how the stripes look on the reverse side. So you can probably just about make out that in this particular stitch count there's about 2.5 rows per stripe, which I didn't like so much on the right side, because you can see it's really kind of obvious that the stripes aren't even. But in the reverse side it's a real kind of like watercolory effect, which I absolutely love. And there's this sweet cable detail just popping up the front there. And the other fun put my teeth in. Nope, still haven't got them in. The other fun thing, try saying that 10 times fast, about this pattern is there was no picking up of stitches for the neckband and the armband at the end, which is fantastic. I don't mind picking up stitches, it's part of the process, but it's not the most enjoyable thing. So you kind of just knit this little tiny band in as you go around. So when I cast off, all I had to do was sew up the shoulder seams and the side seams, and all done. So yeah, that's a sweet little tank top number one. I hope she likes that one. And then the second tank top was from a Serdar pattern book. Let me just grab the book a second. So this is the book. It's called Beach Hut Babes, pattern book 435. I think it's a reasonably old one, and the patterns are designed for Serdar Baby Bamboo, which is a nice light summer yarn, but I decided to knit with another, I can't say can't make that sound today. It's probably one of those days, isn't it? I decided to go with another Debbie Bliss yarn, and I picked the Baby Cashmerino. And this is the pattern that I knit from that book. So another sweet little tank top with this really fun twisted stitch zigzag on the bottom. So yeah, it was really super fun knit and really quick as well. I cast this on during my Thursday afternoon group last week, and I had finished it, I sewed it up Monday morning, so, and I didn't take it home at the weekend to work on, so it was purely just working in the shop and in group time. So yeah, really fun, sweet little knit. Obviously you have to pay slight attention to this bit, but once you get going it's fairly intuitive, and then it's pretty plain sailing up the top, and then there's the same little detail on the back, and you do have to pick up the stitches on this one. I didn't do the best job of picking up stitches, but I think it looks reasonably fine, and I'm pretty sure that my customer won't be worried about that. I think it looks all neat and tidy. It's just me being a bit of a perfectionist. So this is the Debbie Bliss Baby Cashmerino, and the colour is Clotted Cream, which is a nice kind of beigey colour, which I thought made a nice neutral. These are both for little boy, so I thought this would pretty much go with anything. So yeah, hopefully she will be pleased with that one. So they're my finished objects, ready to go off to a new home. And the other thing that I keep thinking as I'm recording myself is that last time I was about to record, I was about to get a tattoo, and I haven't talked about that yet. It's almost 2 weeks ago now. It's still healing up, so it's still a little bit bruised, a little bit flaky. I'm not sure. I'm going to tilt the camera so that you can see it the right way up. Excuse the messy background. Hopefully you can see that. So I got this amazing yarn ball with a pair of needles, completely designed by a local tattoo artist who works at the Two River Studios in Penarth. His name's Christian. I pretty much gave him free rein to design what he wanted. Obviously I had the final say, so if he'd come up with something that I didn't like, I wouldn't have to have it. But I absolutely loved it, and sorry I keep shaking you around, you're on my laptop and I keep knocking the laptop. So yeah, it was pretty pain-free, I have to say. I've always wanted a tattoo, and actually I've had, since I was a teenager, I've had ideas for lots of different designs. Some of them I would still get, a couple I think now I probably wouldn't get, so I probably saved myself from myself by being a bit worried about the pain factor, but actually it was fine. There was only two little bits that actually hurt, which funnily enough were just the tops of these needles. They were really sore when he did those, and when I asked him about it, because I hadn't really felt any pain for the rest of it, he did say that most people have odd little sort of pressure points on their body and it's different for everyone. So the rest of it just kind of like felt warm, and I was like really intrigued watching it grow as he was putting the design and the ink in there. He said that I could, originally I thought I was going to have black and white, but then I thought black and white, you know, yarn, it's colourful pursuit. So he asked me what colours I liked. Obviously orange is my favourite colour, but I believe that orange and yellows inks fade a lot more quickly than other colours, and so I decided to go for blue, and in the end I think it was a pretty good choice. He had lots of different sort of shades of blue that he was able to access, so he's done a really nice job sort of shading that in. There's some bits that are sort of almost left skin tone, and then a few bits where he's dotted white to give some highlights and shade, and I absolutely love it. I'm so pleased with it, and I've had nothing but positive feedback about it. I'm so glad that I did it, and I'm pretty sure it won't be my last tattoo. I don't think you'll see me walking around like Kat Von D anytime soon, but yeah, I can definitely see myself getting more Anyway, enough tattoo talk. I need to get the shop set up for the group this morning, so I'm not sure if I'll get a chance to record anything else later, but if not, I'm sure I shall catch you soon. Morning group is over and it was a really fun morning. I thought I'd just pop by quickly again to share with you a couple of exciting things. So this morning I started a new project. It's going to be a little caterpillar for the window. It's from a book called Butterflies, Beetles and Bugs, I think. I don't have the book at the moment because one of my lovely customers this morning has taken the book and she's going to make a couple of extra creatures for me for the next window display. But I have a little head and some eyes. So that was the product of my efforts this morning. I've put, it's going to be a caterpillar, so I've just got the body to go, and then you also crochet a little sort of hat to go over. So it's very cute, and the sort of hat's got a couple of little antennae on, so super cute little pattern. And I'll definitely show you the book when I get it back. I need to get a couple more copies in stock because it's such a sweet book, and I've had fun. I've put a couple of different colour eyes. The original pattern just has the black sort of dot safety eyes, but I didn't have any. I've either got really tiny ones left or quite big ones left, so I thought, you know, when you're making these little things, if you can't have fun doing it, then what is the point? So yeah, so I've just got the body to work down, so hopefully I'll get that done this afternoon. We'll see how things go. But the most exciting thing is the new pom-pom has arrived. I'm super excited. I am officially not allowed to sell this until Friday, but that's only a couple of days, and I always keep a copy for myself. Ooh. But there are some absolutely gorgeous projects. I love the front cover. It's like a little slice of a bunch of the projects that are in the magazine. The theme is stripes, and I love this kind of bento style bag. I don't know if I'd ever knit it, I don't know, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, we've got a few copies of these in stock, and as always, if you fancy purchasing anything from my little shop, then you can always direct message me. We don't have a website yet, but fingers crossed, coming soon. So yeah, I think I'm going to try, and I keep saying this, I'm going to try and record a couple of review videos. I want to do the Interpretations 5, the newest iteration of that, and I'll probably do pom-pom, and I had something else in mind. I think maybe one of the West Yorkshire Spinners books. So hopefully I'll get a few review videos up soon. A lot of you enjoyed the last one that I did of the Rowan magazine, though I probably don't have quite as much to say about these publications. So I know some of you found the Rowan review quite amusing. You can pop back on the channel if you haven't watched that and take a peek. But yeah, I can't promise it will be as entertaining, but I'll do my very best. So I'm just about to grab some lunch quickly, and I need to do all the boring admin, so I've got washing up and tidying up to do to get ready for my second group this afternoon. I've made it to the end of Thursday. This is the first chance I have had to record anything today. It's been a busy group day today. It's now 6 o'clock in the evening, and I am just changing our window display. So I'm really happy that I've got the bare bones of a new display. I think we will probably end up adding to this display, as some of my customers have expressed an interest in making some bits and pieces. So I'm always up for encouraging that, because it's fun to get everyone involved and feel like part of our little shop community. So I've broadly gone with a garden theme, and I just thought I'd quickly show you one of the things that I've done for the display. I won't go through it all now because, well, I'm really tired and I want to go home. But hopefully I'll have a bit more time and be able to take you through the display tomorrow before I finish up this video. But I just thought I'd show you my quick DIY flowers. So I bought these teeny tiny little flower pots. They come from a shop called Tiger, which is, I think, kind of like a Scandinavian type shop. We've got one here in Cardiff. I know there are some in various places around the country, but it's a bits and pieces kind of shop. So I spent a grand sum of £1 whole English pound on 3 of these pots, and inside this pot I am feeling very Blue Peter. I have popped a bit of blue tack and one of my till rolls. I know, bear with me, it's pretty crazy. But and then on top of the till roll I have cut out a little piece of felt, which is basically my earth in the pot, and I have crocheted a couple of flowers. I've got 3 altogether, and I have wrapped some yarn around a pencil. See, as I say, very DIY Blue Peter, and the blue tack helps stabilize the till roll, and the pencil also jabs into that. And just trying to rearrange my piece of felt a little bit, and there we go. I have got 3 of these to go in the window. So I've got pinky one, and I've got sort of 2 blue ones, which I just made out of scraps of yarn. So they're going to be going in the window. I based my flowers on one of the patterns in this Crocheted Flowers to Wear book, which is the 20 to make series from Search Press. These are all pretty small flowers, but I just sized up my yarn and needles to make my little row of flower pots for the window. They were a really quick make, and hopefully they'll look okay once they're in situ, and that is what I'm going to do now. And as I say, I will talk you through the finished display tomorrow, but I just wanted to quickly check in before I go home, so that my Thursday wasn't completely forgotten. I am going to record for this video, so with any luck I will put this together and get it uploaded on YouTube soon, but I will record a few snippets from today. I'm about to head out to the shop. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I've got a couple of bits and pieces to do before I do that. I need to get a new sign printed up for our front door. From the weekend we'll be changing to our summer opening hours. Things go a little bit quieter for us through the summer months, so we'll be going down to half-day closing on Saturday and Monday, which will give me a little bit more time to do some other things. I need to start thinking about putting together a few workshops and things to offer in the shop, and also I have got some of our older stock and things that have been in the sale in the shop for a little while that I'm going to take out of the shop and go through and photograph that and put that on eBay and things like that to try and generate a little bit of extra income over the summer. So we'll see how that goes. But before I leave, I just wanted to show you what I worked on last night. So yesterday evening, as you might have noticed, I only recorded a few minutes video, and I was pretty tired after a full-on day with groups in the shop and also changing out the window display. So I came home and I didn't really know what to knit on. I was on my own yesterday evening. James was out with some of his work friends, and I just wanted to kind of crash and watch rubbishy TV. And I wasn't sure what to knit on, so I literally just grabbed one of my project bags from the craft room just randomly, and it turned out to be a project that I cast on for my 12 cast-ons of Christmas, and it is the Amulet Shawl by Curious Handmade. So I picked that up again. I'm using yarns that James bought me from a work trip that he took to Seattle last year, and I've just started the second section by the end of last night. So I was probably about halfway through this first garter section, so probably down here somewhere where I picked up. I should have put in a progress marker. So this was a really nice easy knit, so it's just garter rows increasing, and I have just changed to the contrast colour. As you can see, I've got 2 rows there of the orange colour. Let me just grab the yarns out of the bag for you and show you them next to each other. So these are what he gifted me. The orange is blowing out slightly, and probably not helped by the fact that I'm also wearing my bright orange one-way tee today. So these are the yarns that he brought me back from the trip. I'll just grab the tags. So the dark yarn with the gorgeous orange and yellow speckles in there is from Dye House Yarns. Just going to show you throwing it at you. Ridiculous. It's going to be another one of those days, isn't it? So Dye House Yarns, which is a brand by the shop Serial Knitters, and it was the shop. This was the shop that he visited while he was on his trip, and they helped him pick out these lovely skeins. And this is their eclipse colourway. So there was a big solar eclipse in the US last year, and he visited not long after that, so they dyed up this colourway especially to commemorate that, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I've really enjoyed knitting with that. And then the plain orange colour is from Periwinkle Sheep. That's her label. The Dye House Yarns is 100% merino, and the Periwinkle is merino nylon, 75-25 mix. I could have carried on and done some more. I really got into knitting this last night, but the amulet shawl has an option for a bit of beading. And when I first started the project, I thought, oh, I won't bother with the beading. But now I've got there, I've not actually done any beading on a shawl before, or any sort of project. So I thought, you know what, always up for trying something new. I am going to put some beads in. So I had to stop where I am because the next row involves starting to add the beads, and I don't have my beads yet. So when I got to this point last night, I popped online. I've ordered some seed beads, so hopefully they'll arrive in the next couple of days. Obviously we've got bank holiday, so may not be until next week. So I will have to put this one aside, but which is a bit of a shame because, as I say, I've got really back into this, and this colourway is gorgeous. So gorgeous. He did such a great job picking out colours for me. I have to send him yarn shopping more often. So yeah, that was what I worked on last night. And I also have a really cute little stitch marker. I don't know if it will show up. Probably not too bad. So this is a cute little kitty, and again, this was a gift from James. He purchased that for me as part of my 40th birthday gift, which was coming up for 2 years ago now. Getting old, getting old. Anyway, on that somber note, I shall depart for now, and I'm gonna hopefully record a little bit of footage of the new window display when I get in this morning. So with any luck, that will be coming up now for you. So here's the window from the inside of the shop. I do have one sample garment here, which has been lent to me by Rowan. So it's always nice to have some sort of wearable in the window, especially one that I didn't have to spend time knitting myself. So thumbs up, thank you, Rowan. And so here is the rest of the display. As you can see, there's that piece of grass that I was talking about. I've also put a chair in the window, wrapped with a few fake leaves that one of my customers gave me. I've got a gorgeous blanket on the seat of that chair, which was also made by another one of my customers. She's actually going to pass that on to charity at some point, but I was going to send it off in a box to Knit for Peace. But instead I thought I'd snaffle it and use it in the window because it goes perfectly with the sort of green gardeny theme. So hopefully she won't mind. I don't think she will. And then I have on my piece of grass my two little caterpillars that I made, and I've shown a picture of those on my personal account on Instagram, and also some flowers, which were the ones that I was showing you. And then one of my lovely customers has made some fabric mushrooms, and there's also a few snails dotted around as well. Let me try and I'll probably be able to show you those a little bit better from the outside. So yeah, there you have it. That's the new window display. As I say, I'm pretty sure that we'll add to that as the days go on. One of my customers is going to be crocheting me a big yellow circle, which I'm going to sort of use as the sun, so that will be hanging down from the window. And a few other people have expressed an interest in making a few more little creatures and some flowers, so I'm pretty sure that will fill out over the coming days. But yeah, that's it for now, I think. So on with the rest of my day. So a few days have passed since I recorded the last bit, and I've been meaning to pop back and just record a little wrap-up segment for the video, but it's bank holiday weekend here in the UK and I've been enjoying doing lots of nothing really. That's not true. I've done plenty of knitting and we went out to the cinema yesterday, and I was at work on Saturday. It's Monday today. So I thought I'd record a little bit of a spinning segment just to wrap this video up. I've been trying to get back into my drop spindling. I started drop spindling just over a year ago, I think, and I had got into a really good habit of doing a little bit every day, but that's dropped off over the last few months, so I wanted to pick that back up again. I think I've probably mentioned before that I've recently managed to pick up a couple of spinning wheels. Yes, 2 spinning wheels, and I haven't yet used those at all, and I'm itching to do so, but obviously I need some time just to kind of figure out what I'm doing with those, and I think I need to oil the wheels and things like that just to get them up and running. But in the meantime, I figured it would be a good idea to try and get some of my drop spindling projects, if not finished, then well on their way to being finished. And I have got 4 drop spindles, and they're all at the moment occupied with different projects, so I thought I'd give you a quick flash of those as I've been working on a few of those over the last few days. So first off, I'll start with my first spindle. I'll perhaps go in the order of spindles as I acquired them. So on my really basic spindle, this is a spindle kit, or this spindle came in a kit from Hilltop Cloud. I purchased, it might have been at Unravel, probably about 3 years ago, and then it sat languishing for at least a year and a half before I picked it up. On this spindle I've got some rolags from a lovely friend of mine, Sophie. We met up, oh gosh, again probably a year or more ago, and she gifted me a whole bag of rolags, and I've been slowly working through them. I've still got a whole bunch left. Look at those really cute fun worms, I love them. I have no idea what the fibre content is in these. There's definitely some stellina, because the orange sections have a bit of sparkle, and then they go into this lovely sort of natural brown and then through to a yellow. So yeah, I've been working on and off on these, and I actually spun up a couple and plied them and made it into yarn, yay! So this is one of the little mini skeins that I made from some of this fibre. I'm sure I made a couple more, but they're not in my basket. I've got a tiny little wee basket full of the minis that I've spun up from my first ever attempts at spinning, which was some beautiful North Ronaldsea yarn, through to my more recent attempts. But this is the only one of this particular fibre in here, so whether they're somewhere in this room and I've just not uncovered them, or whether I gave them away. I did give away a few little mini skeins of my hand spun, so that's possibly the case. So with this one I didn't really pay attention. I just spun up a couple of the rolags and then plied them together. Didn't really pay attention to the colour order or anything like that. But this time, with the ones that I've got left, I'm trying really hard to spin them in their colour order. So this is one, this is a single that I've recently finished. So this all came from one rolag. So as you can see, the orange, the brown and the yellow. And I'm going to try and spin the rest of the rolags pretty carefully, and then I'm going to apply them together with the matching colours. So hopefully I'll get a sort of striped type yarn, which I think will be really fun. So that's spinning project number 1. The second spindle that I acquired was from Spin City, and it's a beautiful acrylic spindle with pressed flowers and glitter, and that's sparkling nicely in the sunshine here today. And on this spindle I have some fibre that I purchased at Wonderwall, not this year but last year, and it's a Welsh breed, and hopefully I am pronouncing this somewhat correctly. It's called Llanwenog, and oh, this fibre is so beautiful. It's light and fluffy, it's been so well prepared, and I'm trying to spin this super fine. And I've got a few little bumps, whoops, that I have already spun. They're blowing out in the sunshine, so they're going to be ready for plying. I've got a whole big bag of this fibre that I'm working my way through, so I think this one's going to be on the spindle for a long while, and I have in mind that I'd quite like to spin this up for a scarf or a shawl if I get enough meterage, but I don't know how much meterage I'm going to end up, so I guess that will kind of determine what I use this for when it gets finished. And then this is the project that I've been, sorry for it's in a bag, sorry for the crinkly. This is the project that I've been most actively working on the last few days, and it's on this beautiful stone agate spindle. I have to look up the type of stone and where I purchased this from because I have completely forgotten. But as you can see, it's my lovely orange colour, and on this I have got some beautiful Wensleydale fibre that again was a purchase from Wonderwall, not this year but the previous year. I didn't buy any fibre at Wonderwall this year because I still had a bunch that I hadn't spun up from the previous year. It's a Wensleydale fibre from Ystad, and that is a Welsh producer, small Welsh producer, and this is so lovely to spin. I love Wensleydale, you've heard me go on about that before. Oh, I've got the label here, look. So it's organic Wensleydale worsted top from the finest of British wool breeds. Our pure Wensleydale naturally coloured fleece is scoured, combed, oiled and processed to global organic textile standards, farmed in Wales, Ystad. There we go, there's their label. And I've not got that much of this left, so this is all I've got left from the bag that I purchased. I've got quite a few little balls of this that are waiting to be plied. It's a lovely natural brown colour, and yeah, I'm really excited to get this one finished. This is what I'm concentrating on, try and get this one off the spindle first. And it's coming along nicely. I've done a fair bit of that in the last day or so, so I'm trying to spin for about 20 minutes or so a day at least. And then finally, my most recent purchase, which was while we were on holiday in New Zealand, and this is a beautiful birch spindle from Whimsy Wooden Wool. A lovely lady called Tej, who I had the pleasure of meeting while I was in New Zealand. I purchased this spindle from her, and on here is some beautiful fibre from Ashford, merino silk sliver in the sunset colourway, and as you can see I've got a giant bag of this. This fibre was gifted to me by my lovely friend Tracy, who we stayed with in Christchurch, and Tracy is a friend of Tej. So I started spinning this while we were in New Zealand, but I've not really touched it since we've got home, so I'm really excited to be able to get back to that. I think I'm going to finish the Wensleydale, finish the Rolags, and then this will be next on the hit list. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be back into spinning, and as I say, I'm just trying to do a few minutes every day to get myself back in the habit, and hopefully by the time at least 2 of these should be fairly quick finishes, and by that time I'm hoping to maybe be ready to get up and going on my spinning wheel. So yeah, that's it for the video today. Thank you for sticking with me to the end if you have. As always, I hope you are having a wonderful day, whatever you're up to, and until next time, lots of woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.